Hello Ace, this is RetroTK2 and today you'll learn about the var keyword and object initializers. I'll take you through the Microsoft Docs definition of what the var keyword is. Then we'll see some examples of it in action. After that we'll look at the definition of object initializers. And finally I'll show you an example of them. If this is the first C# video you're seeing of mine, I'd strongly suggest watching the series from the start. Card should be on your screen now. And as always, I would encourage you to download the channel files that accompany this video. The card should be on your screen once again. So let's get started. What is the var keyword? According to the Microsoft Docs, beginning in Visual C# 3.0, variables that are declared at method scope can have an implicit type var. An implicitly typed local variable is strongly typed just as if you had declared the type yourself. But the compiler determines the type. Let's see this keyword in action, Ace. Open up Unity and create a basic C# script. As always, make sure you give your script a different name than any other class in your project. Here I'm going to type out our var keyword and declare a variable called I. Now this is where the clever compiler kicks in, Ace. I can make our I variable equal to any object type I like, and the compiler will determine the type at compile time. So here I'm just going to set it equal to 0. This means that our I variable is of type int, and can be used in the exact same way we would with any other int variable. Our I variable is now an int and will always be an int type forever. This is perhaps where the var keyword doesn't behave quite as you might expect, Ace, and differs from other languages such as JavaScript, where the I variable's type can be changed by simply setting it equal to an object of a different type. But if I do that in C# by trying to set the I variable to a string value, for example, you'll see that we get an error. Cannot convert source type string to target type int. So why would you use var instead of just using the actual type's name? Well, in the case of int, you're not exactly gaining much, Ace. But if I create a very basic class with a nice long name, perhaps then you'll see the benefit. Here I'm declaring a variable using the type explicitly. And here I'm creating one using the var keyword. As you can see, using var makes it obvious that you're declaring a variable. It also makes the declaration easier to read and removes duplication. Pretty much a major win for us, Ace. Now, as the Microsoft Docs said, you can only use the var keyword in the method scope. So if I try to declare a new field using the var keyword, you'll see we get the error cannot resolve symbol var. Let's move on to object initializers. According to the Microsoft Docs, object initializers let you assign values to any accessible fields or properties of an object at creation time without having to invoke the constructor, followed by lines of assignment statements. The object initializer syntax enables you to specify arguments for a constructor or omit the arguments and parentheses syntax. Let's check these out, Ace. Here I'm creating a super basic class with the properties name and health. Up until now, we've been given the properties values either by declaring a constructor and passing our initial values to them, or by initializing our object using the default constructor and setting the values by accessing the properties afterwards. However, there is another way, Ace. Using object initializers, we can access our properties at the initialization phase. Here I'm typing out new basic class 18. But instead of opening our brackets, I instead open our curly braces. Now I simply type the property I want to access and assign it whatever value I wish. Dead easy, Ace. This also works with fields, Ace. This initialization method can be very useful when you're just trying to quickly test or prototype something, Ace, but I wouldn't recommend using it as a standard practice. Generally speaking, if you need to do this, it means that your class is changing too frequently, which usually means it has too many responsibilities. But we shall get into all that in a future video. For now, I would suggest trying out the object initializer, but use it sparingly, Ace. The docs also say that it is a compiler time error to use the object initializer with a nullable struct. Presumably this is because the nullable type doesn't contain properties with any setters. Though I am able to initialize it without accessing these properties, Ace, and I can use it as if it were just a standard null value. Maybe I've misunderstood what it means by nullable struct, Ace. Please leave a comment if you know. Also, if you want to hear more about the nullable type, check out my video on it. Card is on the screen now. The docs also talk about collection initializers, which we looked at in the arrays video. The card is on your screen now, yes? But here they're talking about lists and dictionaries. I want to go over them in a separate video, yes, so I shall leave it for now. A fairly short video today just to round off some of the loose ends before we move on to other topics, yes. And that's it. Rate, comment, subscribe, yes, I'm sure you are well. You can email me at retrotk2@gmail.com with any other loose ends. Thank you for watching, yes, and I'll see you in the next video.